Back once again, AD on the radio.
Flitter, it's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater.
So, let me ask you this. Do you, when you're feeling unwell, do you run to Google? Do you sort of like diagnose yourself over the interwebs? It's a fantastically bad idea to do that. But I came across an interesting article about the health questions people Google about themselves on a regular basis. And what do you think? What do you think the top health questions are on the interwebs? We're joined on the show today by our former intern, Concept 714. Host of the #1 hip-hop podcast on the face of the planet, Wake the Flock Up. You can check it out online at WakeTheFlokUp.net with a K.
Check 1 2 1 2. This is Concept 714, host of WakeTheFlokUp.net, the #1 hip-hop podcast in the world. You are now listening to AD on your radio.
Yep. All of the above is true.
Again, I'm here. I'm present.
Do you
this
do
is
you
not
Google?
A phoner. I don't understand what.
Yes. Is it you playing like the pieces of audio of you, or is it like Funkhouser?
It sounds so like I'm so into myself. I'm playing audio of myself when I'm present in studio. It is not me doing that.
That's me.
That's funk.
That's Funkhouser.
That's funk.
Actually, you know who used to do that I liked a lot? Like, I really like Michael Savage. Like, as a radio host, I like him. And people go, like, you like Michael Savage? And it's like, has nothing to do with the things that he says on his show. It's how he says them. But to me, Michael Savage, like, and I don't know if anybody listening ever used to listen to him or not, but like, Michael Savage used to be like the Kanye West of talk radio. And I haven't heard his spin in a little while, but he used to do the thing where he'd be like, he was like Kanye West meets Muhammad Ali meets cranky old dude from New York that had a talk radio show. But he would be like, he'd do this thing where he'd be like, I'm the greatest of all time. Me. I'm the best talk radio host of all time. And he would play audio of himself from like years before. He's like, do you remember back in 1998 when I said this about people that were living in Florida? And
Wow.
he would pull out this piece of audio and he'd play it. And then he'd be like, no. Listen again. Listen to what I say right in the middle of this piece. I am brilliant. And I kind of like that swagger, that sort of like, and he was kind of like the Kanye West of talk radio. So when I heard the Wake the Flock Up piece of audio, I was like, what, do we have to now play your sounder before you will speak on the air?
It's on my writer. Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is Concept 714, host of WakeTheFlokUp.net, the #1 hip hop. It's in my contract. World.
Right.
You know, it's in my writer to AD on your radio. So,
that and no brown M&Ms. Do you diagnose yourself? Well, you have kids, right? You have a kid or two?
I have that I know of. I have 2.
So are you concerned about their health on a regular basis?
I don't think about my children as often as I should, I think. I get home and they're running around, and that's good enough for me.
That means they're alive and well and upright. That's a good
I just
thing,
text the wife, are the offspring breathing? And
right.
If she replies with a thumbs up, then I'm okay.
Well, like, let me ask you this: when they're maybe sort of like not in perfect health, do you run to the internet or do you run to a doctor? What do you do? I
stay out of like a WebMD and all that. Because like you can type in cough and it'll be like, oh, you have colon cancer. Like it's just like oh man, I got an itching in my back. Oh, you've developed gingivitis of the urethra or whatever. Some weird.
Gingivitis of the urethra. You know, gingivitis is something you get in your mouth, and I was just like thinking about like I wonder if it's possible to get gingivitis. Isn't that like I'm sorry, but isn't gingivitis like another? Well, no, that's halitosis. That's a technical name for bad breath. But, like, isn't gingivitis like a gum disease? Oh, wow. That's a really disturbing mental image. Gingivitis of the urethra. Well, thank you so much for that.
It's what I do.
Now, my New Year's resolution of skipping an occasional meal to lose the last 5 pounds will absolutely come true. Anytime I get peckish, all I have to think of is gingivitis of the urethra. Suddenly, not so hungry anymore. We're going to discuss today on the show the Yeah, thanks a lot for that. The health questions that people Googled this year, because we are a nation of hypochondriacs. The internet, like all things, has made information available to us, and we have found that information being made available to us maybe not necessarily always the greatest thing in the world. Right now, though, I wanted to take a look at this list I found on realradio.fm.
All right.
It was the highest paid musicians of 2015. They have the top 15 highest paid musicians of the year. Who do you think's on the list, Concept? You're a musical individual. Who do you think's on the list?
Well, undoubtedly Jay-Z.
Kanye.
Has to be on that list, either one or two. Kanye, of course, I mean, no one's been able to market themselves as well as those two individuals in hip-hop, I think.
Jay-Z's lower on the list than I thought he would be, but he is on the list. Let's run it down. Elton John, $53.5 million. Played 94 live shows, cashed in on royalties from composing music for shows on Broadway, like The Lion King. Yeah, $53 million, and he was the lowest on the list at number 15.
That is insane.
Yeah,
that's insane. That he at lowest is $53 million.
Yeah, $53 million in a year. Beyonce, $54 million. Big part of that was her On the Run tour with Jay-Z.
Sure, yeah.
Jay-Z out-earned his wife in the workplace. They were on the same tour, but he made more money off of it.
Shocking.
He's in at number 13. She made $54 million. He made $56 million. Somebody do the math, but I think that's like $110 million household income for those folks. Yeah. Jay-Z earned $56 million thanks in part to business adventures like Rock Nation and his tour. You know who's much bigger than I thought he was? Ed Sheeran. You know, the little hobbit-looking English kid that plays guitar?
I'm not familiar with him, no. Does he really look like a hobbit?
Kinda, and he's very, very likable. Like there's really nothing. What's interesting was like I remember he was selling music on TuneCore, like one of the or Bandcamp or something like that.
He does look like a hobbit. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he kind of looks hobbity, and he sold like he got his biggest check from TuneCore or whatever it was, Bandcamp or selling his own music on iTunes. He got his
or something, right?
biggest check from selling his music independently online right before he signed his record deal. And he said his check, in an interview, I think it was with Howard Stern, he said he made $500,000 off of it. And if you're just one kid with a guitar selling music on the internet, $500,000, why would you want to change the winning formula, and why would you still want to sign with a major label and deal with all the garbage that brings? I bet he's glad he did, because Ed Sheeran earned $57 million last year. But he worked for it. He worked for it. He played 154 shows, which is sort of
impressive.
It's like a show more or less every other day, which is kind of crazy. Rolling Stones in at number 11 with $57.5 million. Mother Monster, Lady Gaga, $59 million. Fleetwood Mac, number 9. They played 86 live shows and walked away with $60 million. We'll get into the rest of the list next.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone, working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, public, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure? Before it's begun, your life's already freaking over, yeah.
So we've been looking at this list. We've been looking at this list on realradio.fm of the highest paid musicians of 2015. And in at number 10 would be Lady Gaga, who made $59 million. And Concept Sub 14, our former intern, now host of the number one hip-hop podcast in the world, Wake the Flock Up, which you can check out at WakeTheFlokUp.net, asked the very valid question during the break: how did Lady Gaga make that much money? Why did you ask that?
Because she hasn't dropped an album. She hasn't made a video. Not that I know. I mean, I'm not the greatest. I'm not as big a Lady Gaga fan as I pretend to be.
Tony Bennett now, isn't she?
Okay, man. But I'm just saying, like, that's an obscene amount of money for not delivering like a project in that year.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because how she made her loot, which is a substantial chunk, is a little different. Everybody else made their money by going on tour and releasing albums and stuff like that. Lady Gaga earned $59 million. She only played 66 shows this year, which is, that's plenty, I guess, if you're one of those artists that makes sort of like $500,000, $700,000 a show. I guess that can add up pretty quick when you play 66 shows. But mostly her cash came from like these deals she had with MAC and Versace and her signature fragrance. You know how everybody has a signature fragrance?
Yes.
It's just, and you're like, why do they do it? Because there's good money in it. Because like a signature fragrance costs like absolutely nothing to produce, but you slap someone's name on it and the markup is like, I don't know. It's like Coke or Pepsi. Like, here's the thing about soda pop. Every single food item on a McDonald's or Burger King or Taco Bell menu is designed to do one thing. They don't make any money off it. Like, add up the cost of the ingredients of the average item off the dollar menu. 99 cents, and you go, they can't be making money off of this. And the answer is, they're not making money off the 99-cent meal menu. They're making money off of the soda pop that you buy with it, because it costs like a penny, and they charge you, $1.50 for it. And the same can be said for perfumes. Costs nothing to make, and you can charge outlandish amounts of money for it. It's a really good racket, and how Lady Gaga apparently made a good chunk of her cash. Fleetwood Mac, who have been raking in millions playing stadiums since like the mid-'70s. Is that how long Fleetwood Mac have been going?
Yeah.
For a long time now.
Yeah, they made like $16 million this year by playing 86 live shows.
Good for them.
Good for them. Diddy's up in the game, and you would expect him to be so. Ha-ha, yeah, ha-ha. Wait, that's more like Will Smith, right?
He's
Diddy's
more like, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Get it, and we don't stop. We don't stop.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's off the vodka, right?
Diddy earned $60 million. He didn't tour, but he's got business ventures like his Sean John clothing line and deals with Ciroc vodka. That helped him rake in the big cash. Justin Timberlake, $63.5 million, thanks to his 60-date tour. I don't think anybody's too surprised about that one. Okay, so this is where like I have a humongous disconnect. Who the hell is Calvin Harris? Anyone know?
Wait, isn't Calvin Harris the little kid that pees on everything in the back of like the cars?
No, that's Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh, okay. Then I have no idea.
Funkhouser, who's Calvin Harris? Do you know this guy?
He's on the ones and twos, the Wheels of Steel. He's a mixer.
DJ, wait, yeah. Like if you drive towards Vegas, there's big old billboards of him, right? Yeah. Right. He's a club DJ.
He's a club DJ, and apparently club DJing is the racket. He earned $63.5 million as a result of DJ gigs and endorsement deals.
For your iPod. He's getting paid that to play his iPod.
It's unbelievable. Like, Henry Rollins did a great bit on there being nothing worse than playing some sort of Euro music festival and seeing some self-important DJ come in and being like, I'm DJ F head, except he didn't say F. He said the entire word that I can't say on the radio. I'm DJ F head. I have no talent. And he was just like, you're a thief of music is what you are. You're a record player.
Yes.
I was like, that's the greatest thing. You're a record player. You can take a Sam Cooke record and scratch it and go, Vicka, and people pay you millions of dollars for it, and you can kiss my ass, was his whole rant on it. The Eagles are in at number 5. They earned $73.5 million.
What?
Yeah, $73.5 million attributed to the 57 shows they played. Yeah.
And how many Eagles shows do you go where you just don't want to hear Hotel California? Like people gotta be screaming that from the beginning of the show to the end of the show, right?
No idea, but they've made. I mean, and there's, you know what? But the cash has got to be divided up more ways because there's a whole bunch of them, and I think the main guys, Glenn Fry and Don Henley, make more money than the rest of the guys. But the other guys aren't complaining because they're all like, what else is a 60-year-old bass player going to do where he can make multi-millions of dollars a year? Right. Almost nothing. Yeah. I would have thought that she would have been closer to the top of this list. Taylor Swift.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at number 4, how much do you think she made?
Oh, I'm going to say 100.
She made $80 million.
She's like 23, dude. It's like
and makes $4 million a show.
It's insulting.
That's $4 million a show is how much she makes. Wow. Gosh,
She's good, though. She's good, though. Well, say what you will, she can write a song. The girl can write a song.
The number 3 earner on this list, is a guy who, well, I have this theory. Country musicians make money because country music fans tend to lack the opposable thumbs and the internet connections necessary to steal music online. And, well, the guy that's in at number 3 supports that little theory of mine that they're willing to reach into their pocket, buy a T-shirt, a compact disc, and go to the tour. Who is it? We'll find out next.
What the word music means, that's not how you use it. You gave it a shot, you tried your best just sucked without enough. So hang it up, just give it up. It's time somebody let you know that you will never be good enough. You will never be one of us.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah.
So we've been going over this list up at realradio.fm of the top earners in music over the past year just gone by. 15 highest paid musicians of 2015, and we are up to number 3. Up until now, we haven't seen too many people from the genre of country and or western in there. But I was surprised that we hadn't seen more because, like, I've got this theory. The reason country musicians still make so much money is because their fans lack the opposable thumbs necessary and the internet connection necessary to steal music on the interwebs from their mud huts. So they'll crawl out of the primordial ooze. They will buy the concert ticket. They will buy the T-shirt. They will buy the program, and they will buy the compact disc. So I think country musicians tend to do pretty well in this day and age. So it makes sense that in at number 3 is, who do you think? Who do you think, Funkhouser and Concept? Who's the number 3 earner financially?
Toby Keith.
No. Funkhouser, you want to guess?
That's the only actual country person that I know. Oh, Carrie Underwood.
No. Garth Brooks.
Wow.
Garth Brooks still way up in the game, earned
Shocking.
$90 million. Earned $90 million after coming back from semi-retirement to go on tour.
Yeah, well, country people are stuck in their ways in more ways than one.
Well, and okay, so here's where the big jump up happens. Like the numbers have been very compressed since we got to this point. Meaning, like, you know, there would be 59.5 million was number 12, and 59.6 million would be number 11. But here's where we start to take a big jump up from 90 million a year to 130 million a year. Who do you think made 130 million?
Who made, and it's not Kanye or Jay-Z?
And this is number 2. Wow. Who do you think made 130 million? I'll give you a hint. Probably not as much because they got to split it up between 4 people. Or 5 people. I think one of them left. I don't know. I don't know because I'm not a prepubescent girl.
Oh, no. One Direction.
Yeah, One Direction earned $130 million, which is mostly attributed to 74 dates on their tour.
Wow.
Yep. So, in at number 1, who do you think is the top earner in music for all of 2015?
Did we say Bieber already? Oh, we already touched Bieber, right?
No, Bieber wasn't on this list.
What?
Yeah, pretty happy about that.
No, so who could beat One Direction?
Maybe Bieber would have made the list, but
sure.
They factored in all the money he spends on South American prostitutes and codeine cough syrup, which he keeps in oil drums in his home.
Well, Vanilla Ice does have a new home improvement show, so I'm going to go ahead and lean that way.
No. Take a serious guess.
Okay.
Guess, rather.
And this is a solo artist or a group?
This is a solo artist, so she gets to keep all.
Oh, it's a female. Okay.
Yeah. Oh no.
And it's not Beyonce. Okay. Rihanna.
No, She wasn't on the list. She did not make the list.
And it's not Lady Gaga. It's not Rihanna. It's not Beyonce.
No.
I'm going to take one final guess, and I'm going to say Dolly Parton. No.
I'm sure Dolly Parton's got so much cash that it absolutely, like, I'm sure if you look at Dolly Parton's bank account, it makes everybody on this list look kind of freaking laughable. Maybe not Fleetwood Mac, because they've been doing it since the 70s as well. But, like, nope, Katy Perry. Katy Perry is the top earning musician of 2015, bringing in $135 million. She grossed more than $2 million for each stop on her Prismatic tour.
Oh, my God.
It's impressive.
An insane amount of money.
It is an absolutely insane amount of money. It's a sort of like, you know what? Like, if I had $1 million, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be able to sort of like stay sane. Like, I don't know if I would be able to sort of like keep my perspective and be like, how many zeros at the end of my bank statement?
Right.
I have $1 million. I don't care if it's before taxes. Like, I don't think I would be able to function as a normal human being just because I'd be in shock for like 3 to 6 months, and then I kind of try and figure out what the hell to do with it. Which point the tax man would have taken most of it, and I'd be back to square one. But like the concept of making $135 million in a year is just it's insane. Absolutely insane.
Which is why I think God has not allowed me to become a millionaire, because I feel I would immediately overdose on just like the most ridiculous drug. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be able to withstand the fact that I know I have 100. And this is not her equivalent wealth, because this is this year alone.
That's this year in 2015, which I don't know if it was I guess it was a big year for Katy Perry. She did have like an album come out, and she did have the big tour, so it's not like
just for a pair of boobs, she gets paid $130 million. That is insane. Because I mean, if you're being realistic, she's not Adele, where she has the undeniable talent, where she comes and she drops a video and it breaks YouTube. Like, she's not that. The only reason that she has the money she has is because she is good. Look, right now on TMC, she's just good to look at. That's all it is. So she makes $135 million on just being good on the eyes. That's insane.
I disagree with you. And here's why.
Really? Okay, let me hear.
I disagree with you, and here's why. And this is what it occurred to me a little while ago. I went to we put on this big festival this past year just gone by, and on it we had sort of like a lot of artists that didn't necessarily have hits. People that weren't being played on the radio, people that weren't necessarily even at the top of their game, people that are kind of flying under the radar, people like Ben Harper. I don't know if you've ever seen Ben Harper live, but you know that guy's the real deal. And we had Michael Franti. You know him?
I do.
From Disposable Heroes of Hip-Hoperacy. Almost nobody knows that he was in this like Public Enemy style rap group back in the 80s and 90s, and they were awesome. Michael Franti played, and it's Michael Franti and Spearhead, and he plays sort of like these catchy little tunes. And again, not necessarily somebody who's had a hit reel recently, but here's the thing. All these artists that we had on the bill, and we did have some really, really big ones, people like the Zac Brown Band. But then again, how does the Zac Brown Band get so freaking big? How do they become this live draw? How do they sell all these albums? What's very interesting is I noticed that every single person on this bill had a huge fan base, regardless of whether they were being played on the radio or not. And that was because I was watching people in the crowd, and all these people had the ability to make people feel good. It comes down to, do you feel good when you hear this? Do you feel good when you go to the show? Like Michael Franti, such a good vibe in the audience when he played. Zac Brown Band, such a good vibe. So much fun, like just ridiculous amounts of fun watching these artists. And Adele, I can't stand Adele. She's not fun to me. She's annoying. She's whiny. I really can't stand Adele. Like, yeah, big deal. She's got a great voice. So do a lot of people. It's not that freaking great.
Big deal. She's absurdly talented. That means nothing in the music industry.
Here's the thing. Adele's an okay singer.
What?
Like, she's an okay singer. It's like she can sing. There's no two ways about it. No one's going to take away from her that she can sing. But like people that can sing like Adele are a dime a freaking dozen.
We're a couple minutes away from an epic rap battle without the rap here.
Did you hear this? He said Adele is a dime a dozen. AD. Okay, listen. She pulls out a video. She hasn't come out with anything in 5 years. Her album now today goes platinum. Her video breaks YouTube in the first minute that it's out. Like, this is undeniable talent. And now that she's out, people like Nicki Minaj and people like Katy Perry and all these people who are just visual artists, like they're just good to look at, they won't be able to reach these If Adele came out in January, she would be on the top of this list. I guarantee it.
Well, no, I'm sure she will be at the top of the list next year. But
off of pure talent and pipes.
Adele is successful based on the fact that fat chicks like to listen to other fat chicks
my
whine.
God. Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
I kid. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Adele. I'm just saying Katy Perry has this ability to make. She's so much fun. She makes people feel good.
and they're
like,
in
yeah,
their pants. Yes, I agree.
Good all over. I think you'll find like her shows are wildly entertaining. Like people get
she's
happy
good
when they go
look
to
at. Solely on that fact.
People enjoy the entire experience. They're buying in. They're spending money on the T-shirt. They're spending money on the program. They're spending money on the compact disc. They're spending money on the concert tickets because overall they get a good feeling with regard to her. It's not like, oh my God, she's so talented. It's that she speaks to a part of people. And there are plenty of singers that can sing like Adele sings.
No.
But Adele, whose show? My show.
Oh, wow.
There's plenty of singers that can sing the way Adele sings. But Adele has managed to, possibly completely by accident, tap into something that resonates with people. She wrote an album about a crappy relationship she had when she was 19. That's all she did. Yet so many people have had crappy relationships when they're 19. So many people can relate to it. It's so relatable that it really resonates with people. I'm not taking away from her talent. I'm just saying I don't disagree with you, Concept, in that she is unbelievably talented and she has a voice that was given to her from something else. It's not something that you can learn. It's not something that can be taught. But what Adele has that other people don't is this thing that resonates with folks, because there's plenty of people that have pipes like you wouldn't believe that you have never heard of, that will never get out of their own bedroom. There are a lot of people that can sing their respective asses off, but not many people that connect with folks in the way that Adele does. Not many people that connect with folks in the way Taylor Swift does. Like Taylor Swift, not that great a singer, when she sings raw without like the benefit of all the stuff that she sings through.
Right.
It's really raw, but she has an ability to connect with people. She has ability to make people feel good. Same as Katy Perry. And like Adele is a triple threat because she is able to make people feel good. And she's able to sing like you wouldn't believe. So she's got a lot going on. What would be the third part of the triple threat? Oh, that she's relatable because she doesn't believe in sit-ups.
You'd like to
Jeez.
To go.
Over. Everything.
Okay, now this.
They say that time's supposed to heal. Yeah. But I ain't done much healing. Hello. Can you hear me?
Do you love Adele that much?
I do.
You know what? And here's the thing.
I'm with you, man. Look, I understand. I get it. Sex sells. It always has. It always will. I understand this. All I'm saying is Katy Perry is undoubtedly super talented, if not, if anything, at business. Whoever's managing her, whoever's her talent management is amazing at what they do, obviously. It makes sense. Here's a pretty girl. She sounds decent enough. Put her on stage. We'll make millions of dollars. I get it. All I'm saying, Adele is doing this and more just based on the fact that she sings, that there's talent. And I think that's rare.
With Katy Perry, the fact that sex sells, with Adele, no sex sells. Where she's been like the anti-Katy Perry. She's like, no, right. I will not be jumping rope in a bikini on stage. That's not going to happen. And the fact that she's taken a line on that is just something that people can relate to. Where she's like, I'm going to smoke. I'm going to eat whatever crap I want to. I don't care about like being a little chunky. This is who I am. Yeah. And that is what she sold. Sex sells with Katy Perry. Not sex sells with Adele. Like it's all, everything is being marketed, everything is being sold, everything is something for people to grasp onto and relate to. With Adele, there's a little more to grasp onto, but that's her whole selling point.
Everything's a gimmick. Everyone has a gimmick. Everyone has something that they are able to relay or pander through to whoever they're focusing whoever money they want, basically. It's a Donald Trump effect. It's like we're saying, Donald Trump's not racist. He's just a smart businessman. And and the people that vote are not Muslims. The majority of people that vote are not Muslim. Majority of the people that vote for the people that Trump is catering to are the wild racist cowboys and that whatever it is. And that's the same thing Adele and Katy Perry have managed to do, up to $100 million a year, which is insane.
Absolutely insane.
And I'm with you. I understand. More power to both of them. I wish I made $100 million of people wanting to look at my boobs.
What is this we were listening to?
This is a mashup of Adele's Hello by the movies. So they compiled a bunch of movies together and they're singing Adele's Hello.
Tried.
As we go to break.
As we go to break. All right, then. When we return, My Witness News in no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. Thank you, Funkhouser. Thank you, Concept 714. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Not as much fun as Adele in an Eclair factory, but fun nevertheless.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I'm in.
California.
Dreaming
About who?
we used to be.
When we were younger.
I'm free.
I've forgotten how it felt before.
Now, more AD on the radio.
We are privileged to be joined on the air today by our former intern, now host of the #1 hip-hop podcast in the world, Wake the Flock Up. Check it out online at WakeTheFlokUp with a K.net, WakeTheFlokUp.net. Concept 714, welcome to the show. If you're just joining us, Concept 714 graces us with his presence on a semi-regular basis, and today is one of those days we're lucky enough to have that happen. How you doing? How you feeling during this joyous freaking Yuletide season?
I am great. I am pumped full of coffee and donuts, so life cannot be better now. Yes.
You know,
I do.
donuts
Yes.
are so good. Like I mean, I've got lots of food Achilles heels,
Yes.
but there's something about a donut that is so wildly satisfying. And I think
are you a gloss man or a jelly filled or what?
well, okay, so if I'm gonna there's a place called Rose Donuts. It depends where you're going. It's like, you know what it is? It's sort of like Mexican food or Chinese food or something like that. Like I've got or barbecue joints where it's just like barbecue joints. Like I've got some places I go because the pulled pork is the best on the face of the planet. Other places because they've got the best brisket. There's one place in Texas called the County Line, and they're the only barbecue joint that I've ever seen that does this. They do beef ribs, which it looks like the stuff at the beginning of looks like the stuff at the beginning of the Flintstones that makes Fred's car tip over. It's like you're eating Brontosaurus. Beef ribs are humongous. Everybody serves pork ribs. The County Line serves beef ribs. And not only that, they have an all-you-can-eat option where it's like $25 for all the beef ribs you can keep down. And it's unfreaking believable. So it...
Man, where
exactly.
is this?
Road trip!
Yes.
They used to have one in Houston, and I think the one in Houston closed down. Now they only have it in Austin, which is like one of the coolest cities on the face of the planet anyway. So maybe one day people will send us on a road trip and we can just go eat beef ribs at the County Line in Austin. I think some competitive eating on the show would be a super good time. But yeah, every donut place has different things that they do well, like barbecue joints or Mexican restaurants. I tend to go to different places for different things. But there's this one place in California, like little independent ma and pa store called Rose Donuts. Have you ever been to one? I think there's only like 3 of them up and down the West Coast, and I don't know if they're all the same ones, but I think they are because they all serve the same apple fritter, which is sort of like, oh my God, it's unbelievable. Technically not a donut, but just ridiculously good, where it's just the right combination of fat and glaze, and it's been crisped up just a little bit, so there's kind of a crunch to it. And hold on a second, gonna need a moment. Yeah, fantastic. So I think that's my go-to donut. If you're going to Dunkin' Donuts, what's weird is I don't like chocolate. Mm-hmm. Really, generally speaking, I don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate icing, chocolate frosting. But the plain chocolate cake donuts at Dunkin' Donuts are just, there's something about them, man. They're so good. What would be your go-to donut?
I like anything jelly-filled or cream-filled. I don't know. I just, as a kid, I've always, like, those were always, because there's like that little bit of extra sweetness inside and, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm more of a bagels man myself than donuts.
Bagels are good. Yeah.
You know, an onion bagel or an all mixture, you know, the bagel that has all the seeds on it. Oh, man, I'm all for that. You
know, what's funny is, like, I love bagels, and I haven't really found too many good bagel places on the West Coast or anywhere beyond New York, because they have this thing in New York that is, like, Larry King, I think, opened up a bagel place in Hollywood, I believe it was. And it was like, he's a Jewish guy from Brooklyn, and that's where they make the best bagels. And the thing that they have, this is what makes New York pizza and New York bagels better than bagels that you're going to get anywhere in the world. New York water. New York City water, for whatever reason, I think it's well documented that New York City is not the cleanest place on the face of the planet, but New York water is some of the best drinking water in the world, and New Yorkers will proudly drink it. They don't drink bottled. But yeah, no, it's very strange. Like, New York water is delicious, and New York water has something with it that makes New York pizza and New York bagels better. And so what Larry King did was he found sort of like some science-y type guys to treat water that made it like New York City water, and that's how he makes his bagels. And they're really good, and they're definitely different, and you can taste it. New York water is the most important ingredient to a real bagel or to a real slice of pizza, because you need that water in the crust. And I don't know why it makes a difference, but the difference is unquestionable. Whatever the version of being deaf with your tongue is, like, if you have no ability to taste stuff, you'd have to be deaf with your tongue not to taste the difference between a pizza or a bagel made with New York City water and the alternative. But when we go for a bagel, I like to do this thing where I kind of have one which is a main course and one which is a dessert. And the main course one will be sort of like sesame seed bagel with cream cheese, tomato, and lox on it, with cream cheese, tomato, and salmon on it. Like, that's just, it's unfathomably good. And dessert will be like a cinnamon raisin bagel with cream cheese and jelly on it. Like, the bagels are the best.
Where do you stand on the strawberry cream cheese? Are you with that? If you go to your supermarket now, they have like a variety of different cream cheeses, like the jalapeno, strawberry, honey, walnut. Are you just like a plain cream cheese man?
When I was a kid, I used to really like cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. So I get the idea of putting the strawberry in the cream cheese, and it doesn't taste bad. But I would rather control the ratios, where I have my control over the cream cheese and my control over the jelly. So I get what they were trying to do, but no, I don't. I bought one once out of curiosity, and I was like, that was good. I'm not doing it again. But it was all right.
It's like that peanut butter that has the jelly in it as well. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, what are they thinking? That's
in theory, it's good. I can see it in theory, but once you apply it, it's not very good.
Yeah. No.
Kind of like this show a little bit. So,
right. Yes. I'm glad we're talking about the big issues on the show today. Like, what kind of cream cheese do you like on your bagel? Fantastic.
America wants to know.
America wants to know. Do they, though? Do they? We'll talk about which health problems you're Googling in 2015 or have been Googling in 2015 next. Don't go anywhere. It will be similarly riveting to this.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
Alrighty then. We are joined on the show today by our former intern and now host of the #1 hip-hop podcast on the face of the planet, Wake the Flock Up, which you can download at WakeTheFlokUp.net. Concept 714. He is He's lowered himself to being on this little show today, and for that, we thank him. We're going to talk about the things that you've been Googling over the last 12 months with regard to your personal health, like WebMD, Google. How much self-diagnosis do you do online, and of what? It's a horrifically bad practice to get engaged in. I mean, it's a great tool if you're a reasonable human being, but if you're a hypochondriac like me that convinces yourself that a hangnail equals cancer, then not so much. What about you? Do you self-diagnose at all?
I do not, and with the stuff that I Google, you do not want to talk about. I know, like I said, I try to stay away from that kind of stuff because it is like a dangerous kind of slippery slope of diseases you can go down. Like, I got a cough. Oh, now you have like. It just goes downhill from there.
What was it? Halitosis of the urethra, you said earlier? No, not halitosis of the urethra. Gingivitis of the urethra.
Gingivitis. It is a documented case that I invented myself. It is possible. Right. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Hey, why the hell not? Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit. Right now, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. Funkhouser, how you doing? You hanging in there? You having fun? Good. What's been going on in the world, Concept?
Well, did you know that people were getting married when they were waiting in line for the Star Wars movie?
It's true. People were getting married in line waiting for Star Wars. Why they were in line is kind of sort of beyond me because, the thing was so beyond sold out for months at a time. It's not like you could stand in line, wait, and get a ticket. The only benefit to lining up for Star Wars, I guess, was, nerdy camaraderie and then the ability to get pole position when it came to getting ideal seating in the movie theaters. I guess that's what you don't want. You don't want to be seeing Star Wars in IMAX and then be sat right next to the screen. That would suck. I could see why people might want to line up to avoid that eventuality. But I guess they needed something to do in line, so people were getting married. What do you think? Good idea, bad idea?
It's never a good idea to get married. No. I'm just concerned about the smell factor in that theater. See what I'm saying? Those nerds cannot be already freshly showered when they're in line, right? And then if they're waiting a week, can you imagine a theater room full of Star Wars nerds that have been waiting in line for a week?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I guess it's like when we were on tour, when my band was on tour, you wouldn't necessarily have access to a shower every single day.
Sure.
You had the shower in the tour bus, but that I think that worked for. You just kind of as and when got clean when you could. So it was not uncommon for guys to sort of do their best to. They used to nude up and get as much of themselves in a sink as possible at once and try and wash themselves that way. So I don't know.
Sure.
The restroom once you get into the theater is probably not a place where you want to be in that situation. But people getting married in line for Star Wars, which I don't know. A lot of people say is a bad idea because you're just setting yourself up for two things that will not live up to your expectations.
Oh wow. Okay.
Go on.
Did you know that Bill Cosby sued 7 of his accusers for defamation?
Yeah. Yep.
He actually did that.
He actually did that. People were accusing him of being a rapist, but here's the thing: he's suing 7 of them.
Yes.
The list is much longer, right? At this stage in the game.
38 of those women were right, okay? But those 32 of them, how dare you?
Right.
It's come on. 7
I
of
don't
them.
know. It's just those 7 of them that he's like you, and 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 you. You're all telling the truth. But these 7, they're just jumping on the Bill Cosby bandwagon. So I'm going to be suing them. It's why not sue everybody if you are truly
Or how about
innocent?
you do nothing? You sit in your house and you don't leave. What do you do? What is this man thinking? Like I said before, now he's raping their wallets. This man is. Come on. At some point you got to be like, all right, I'm just going to sit quiet and say nothing, and hopefully someone will do something dumb and forget about me.
Yeah, well, Bill Cosby suing 7 of his accusers for defamation. And if I know anything, that'll definitely get him back into the public's good graces.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's
go on.
Okay, so sources say that Shane West was born the perfect baby. Whatever that means.
I think, hold on. Mm-hmm. Saint West, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West kid, is allegedly perfect in that he eats without being fussy. He sleeps well, rarely cries. And yet, Kanye can't help but point out that Beyonce had the best baby of all time. Of all time!
I'm going to let you finish feeding this baby.
Yeah, I'm going to let you finish feeding this baby.
But Beyonce. You're like, wow, okay. Well,
yeah, apparently Kim Kardashian's breastfeeding saint on a regular basis, too. Only lost him twice. Healthiest 125-pound infant you've ever seen. Go on.
Okay. A Twitter user predicted Saint West's name 6 months ago.
Yep.
That is true.
A Twitter user predicted Saint West's name 6 months ago. The patron saint of overexposure. I believe the user credits their. I believe the user credits their prediction to not underestimating how awful Kim and Kanye are. Well, what else?
Well, let's see. What else do we have here? Okay. Giselle Bundchen likes the smell of rain, apparently, for some reason.
Yeah. Giselle Bundchen likes the smell of rain.
Yes.
Tom Brady, her husband, enjoys the scent of nature, too, like the smell of air escaping from a football as you deflate it.
Wow.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Googling your health problems.
I like
shall
that
we?
one. That was a good round.
Being an online hypochondriac. I don't know if this is something you can do. I can honestly tell you it's a bad idea. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's me being a little unhinged. I used to be a really bad hypochondriac. It's gotten slightly better this past year just gone by. But Google just released the list of 9 health-related questions people Google the most, which are, well... All right, in at number 1, what do you think is the most common question that people Google? This is not what I would have expected.
I don't know. I mean, probably something about moles. Like, oh, I have a mole, right? Like,
WebMD.
Is it cancer, basically, is the question.
Yes, basically. Is it cancer? Yes.
No. People want to know, is bronchitis contagious? Really? Yeah. Is bronchitis contagious? Technically, it's not, but the cold that caused it is. And you can get the same cold that gave your friend bronchitis. And there's a pretty good chance that you're going to get the bronchitis yourself. So,
yeah.
I was surprised, too. I would have thought it would have been, because bronchitis, kind of like an innocuous thing, is, no fun, but it's not going to take you off this planet. And I would have thought, things would have been connected to death, sort of like, is it cancer? Will I die? Stuff like that. But no. And at number 2, is pneumonia contagious? People want to know. And I guess pneumonia, if things go badly for you, that can kill you. The answer to that one is yes. There's 2 kinds of pneumonia. There's bacterial and viral. And viral is the more contagious one. But it's still not as contagious as something like the flu. The other ones on the list are sort of like related to general health. Or a lot of them are related to general health. Like, what do you think? What do you think is your basic general health concern? If you're thinking about maintaining your health, what would be the first thing that you wonder? Like, am I doing enough of this? Am I not doing enough of that? What should I be consuming? Like, what do you think is the question?
Probably they're asking if something or the other is healthy to eat, right? Like, how unhealthy is this, or how healthy is it? Does celery really have negative calories? That kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Are there a dozen sit-ups in every bite of celery?
Yes, that kind of stuff.
The question that is asked is, how much water should I drink?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
how much water do you tend to drink on a regular basis?
Me, whatever water is contained in Rock Stars and Red Bulls. Whatever is in that's how much.
So bad for you, because that stuff is a diuretic that makes you sort of like that makes you excrete the water that's in your system. So like that will actually dehydrate you, as opposed to it's not good.
I don't drink enough water to. I mean, I try to do the 8 cups. I do like. I mentally tell myself, oh, you haven't drank water today. Stop and drink something. But I'm not really good. Are you? Do you keep up with your water intake like that?
I think it depends. It depends on where I am. Like if I'm at home and I don't have soda in the fridge, like I'll default to water because, the water filter, and it's really good. It's watery. It's good. And sometimes you just like crave water. Like I think I forget to drink it sometimes, and so I'll get dehydrated, and I'll just be like, and when you need a drink of water and you get it and your body needs it, it's just like, oh, sweet nectar of life. You can feel like yourself coming back to life when you drink a glass of water and you really need it. But the question is, how much water should I drink? For that one, you take your weight. you divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should drink per day. So if you're 160 pounds, 80 ounces, 10 cups, which is, that you're talking about 8 cups. Well, it's just like if you're 160, 10 cups a day is what you need, so it might be more if you work out. If you do any kind of exercise, you tend to need more. So I think generally speaking, based on this, I am not drinking anywhere near enough water. What about you, Funkhouser?
Nope.
No.
Coffee.
Coffee. The other thing, coffee doesn't count.
The only cups I'm concerned with are double D cups.
The other questions are things like how many calories should I eat? When do you ovulate? I guess women trying to get pregnant or maybe trying to avoid getting pregnant. What is gluten? Something that I don't think anyone has a real answer for. How far along am I? Meaning how pregnant am I? What is lupus? And that's because Selena Gomez revealed she was diagnosed with it last year. She had lupus, and all of a sudden the world became aware of it. And how long does the flu last for? About as long as this show. Thank you so much for hanging out, being part of our radio family. Thank you, Concept 714. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you to come back.
And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that. Well, this is not one of those times. I don't think you realize what's on my mind. I've been too nice for way too long.
Today on the show, you might have noticed that we were joined by our former intern, Concept 714, who now hosts the #1 hip-hop podcast on the face of the planet, Wake the Flock Up. You can check it out online at WakeTheFlokUp.net. That's WakeTheFlokUp with a K. Not so long ago, I sat down with Concept 714 and took part in the WakeTheFlokUp.net podcast and talked about all sorts of things, about growing up in London, being handed a check for $1 million when I was 17, and being protected by a Mexican prison gang. It was all in there, and stuff that I haven't necessarily talked about on this show. Concept 714 is a fantastic interviewer, and whether or not you're into the musical art form that he talks about, it's a great, great listen. Do yourself a favor, download the podcast or listen online at iHeartRadio. WakeTheFlokUp.net. WakeTheFlokUp.net. Right, Concept?
That's right, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just so hard to be a good person, to lift yourself up and try to be that better version of all the potential people that you got living in your mind. It takes more than happy chance and circumstance. You gotta decide that you're gonna keep your head up and treat people how you want to be treated. Hold doors and be polite, try not to be conceited. But sometimes, kind of sort of all the time, for some of us it's true. It's harder than anything else on earth to observe the golden rule.
I need to